Recent events have highlighted once again that no country stands isolated in the global economy. The credit crunch, which began in America, has spread around the globe, and we know that families in this region are facing a tough time. That is why the Labour government has led Europe-wide efforts to prevent the banking system from collapse and to keep the economy working. In recent years, European funding has helped bring thousands of jobs to Yorkshire and northern Lincolnshire, and our trade with other European countries underpins an estimated 200,000 more. £158 million of extra European funding has been pledged to help keep people in work and retrain those that have been made redundant. Now is not the time to put that at risk by endangering our relationship with other countries. Now is the time to work together to bring us through this economic downturn.
Laws backed by Labour in the European Parliament make a real difference for working people in our region. Common European-wide rules prevent companies from avoiding these rules by hopping from one country to another to find the weakest legal protection for workers. Labour Euro MPs have supported your right to at least 4 weeks paid holiday, the right to rest breaks, the right for mums and dads to have some time off when they have a birth or adopt a child, and the same rights for part-time workers and minimum health standards across the whole of Europe. Under new European laws, as many as 70,000 temporary and agency workers in our region will see an improvement in their working pay and conditions. Full-time workers will have the peace of mind of knowing that they cannot be undermined by temporary part-time workers replacing them. David Cameron and the Tories say they want to pull Britain out of the social chapter, putting into doubt many of the rights and protections that people at work have. We in Yorkshire and the Humber say that people can't afford to lose out.
Nearly 2 years ago, a man living in my hometown of Rotherham became the first person in the country to be arrested as a result of the European arrest warrant. He was wanted by authorities in Holland as part of a series of arrests connected to an international people trafficking ring, bringing girls young as 12 from Nigeria into Europe to be exploited as sex workers in 4 different EU countries. It's hard to imagine the terror of the girls brought from Africa, trapped under false pretences, destined to be forced into the most degrading circumstances. Because of the European arrest warrant supported by Labour MEPs, suspected serious criminals can be brought to trial much more quickly, wherever they are in the EU. Without it, police would find tackling this kind of international criminal activity much more difficult. Whether it's trafficking, people smuggling, or drugs or money laundering, when organised crime can operate in several countries at once, we need the police and judicial authorities to be able to cooperate across borders. Wherever they are, travellers should feel safe and the perpetrators of crime should face justice. Labour in the European Parliament can help make it happen.
Another area where the work we do as MEPs is important is on consumer protection. With a common market, with services and goods flowing freely across frontiers, we need common rules for that common market if we're going to adequately protect people. Take, for instance, mobile phones. You used to be ripped off by companies every time you used them abroad. In the Parliament we voted legislation to stop that happening so that you're no longer ripped off when you use your mobile phone abroad. Another area is electrical products. The guarantees that apply to them when you buy them should exist right across Europe, wherever they are made, wherever they are sold. We've done that through legislation we've voted in the European Parliament. Take airlines. They are now fined for overbooking, which they used to do deliberately, leaving many people stranded, their holidays ruined. Take rogue traders and scammers of all kinds. They are getting clever. They're now beginning to operate across frontiers so that they avoid national laws to deal with them and prosecuting authorities because they sit in one country and act in another. Well, we are going to look at dealing with them at European level through appropriate European legislation that will catch them wherever they are.
As a mum, I don't want to have to worry about how safe the food is that my son eats, but I know that big food manufacturers operate in many different countries, and that's why Labour MEPs have been working on Europe-wide protection for all our families. Under plans backed strongly by Labour MEPs, any food that claims to bring health benefits now has to prove those claims with scientific evidence. And new proposals will mean better, clearer food labels so you can see at a glance whether a product is high in salt, fat or sugar. Anyone with children knows that sometimes certain food or drink can make them get hyper. When research last year showed a clear link between specific food dyes and hyperactivity in children, Yorkshire and Humber MEP Linda McAvan led moves to clamp down on those additives. Labour MEPs also led the way on comprehensive legislation to cut dangerous chemicals from everyday life by introducing a thorough system of testing and evaluating chemicals before they're authorised for everyday use. It all helps to make life a little easier and a little healthier.
This morning I'm in Barnsley. Like so many towns across our region, 2 summers ago, Barnsley had the worst flooding ever seen on record. 22,000 homes were affected in Yorkshire and Humber and 3,000 workplaces, and a lot of people have still not got back in their own homes. And while we've always had extreme weather, scientists agree that the extreme weather we're having now is linked to climate change, and that we've got to tackle climate change now if we're going to stop long-term devastating impact. But acting alone isn't enough. We need European and international action to tackle climate change, and that's why Labour MEPs and myself and colleagues were working up to Christmas to get a new package of laws to tackle climate change at European level. These new laws will mean a cut in our emissions by 20% by 2020, cleaner cars, cleaner appliances, and that means a cut in your energy bills as well. And it means investment in new technologies, renewable green energy, and that means more jobs for our region. Now, David Cameron says that tackling climate change is important. But how can a party like the Tory party, which is so hostile to Europe, actually lead in international talks on climate change? Tackling climate change is central to Labour's commitment for a fair future for all. We need international action to tackle climate change, not Tory isolationism.